The Epilepsy Foundation acknowledges the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners of the land on which this property stands. We respectfully recognise elders both past and present.
So my name's Ben. I've had epilepsy, I would say, most of my life. I started on my 9th birthday, and pretty much from that age, growing up to about the age of 21, I wouldn't say it dictated my life, but it had this very strong influence on my life. And this is my wife, Allison.
So Ben and I have been married for 10 years and together all up for about 12 years now. And I have witnessed hundreds and hundreds of seizures from Ben in that time. We've had times where he's had lots of seizures and times where he's had no seizures for years. And we just manage it in between as best we can.
I've had epilepsy since I was 9. Funny enough, it was on my 9th birthday. And at the time, it didn't exactly, from my recollection, which is never the greatest, it was never affecting my life too much. I guess at that age, I didn't know much of a difference in everyday living to having epilepsy separate from that. However, I'd be fair to say that it definitely affected my family, parents, 2 sisters, friends that I had at the time. Played a lot of football and other sports, so all the friends and other parents started learning about it and starting to sort of get in with helping out my parents, I guess, to deal with it as well as, I guess, myself being alone at times, yeah. Probably the most effect it had would be independence. I'd just, pretty much lose that. I don't really... Pretty much from that age, so not knowing the great difference of it's probably fair to say. But after having surgery and then sort of gaining more independence with epilepsy, definitely not fading away, but being a lot more out of the way of my general living. And then going back to having epilepsy, that's where I sort of, saw the loss of independence again. So from the age of 9 through to around 22 or 21, 21, epilepsy was consistent on an ongoing basis of 2 to 3 seizures a month, with ongoing pedimels pretty much at least 3 or 4 a week. Majority of the time was when I was waking up. Other times would be if I've just had a very stressful situation. Something very much out of the ordinary that'll shock you or something, scare you, should I say. That will trigger a pedimel. So those sort of situations is where it sort of, I guess you could say, occupied majority of my life up until I was about 21. And that was the point where I had the option to have surgery. They did plenty of CT scans and many other scans. But at one point there, they noticed a scar tissue on the left temporal lobe, which is where they had the surgery conducted. They removed that scar tissue, and lucky enough thereafter, it was no seizures for quite a while. Probably about 10 years ago, would it be? I had a seizure, and after that, it hasn't been anywhere near as bad as it was when I was growing up, but it has been ongoing. I am able to drive. Lucky enough, all the seizures are at night when I'm asleep. So
when he's saying he had a seizure 10 years ago, he had one seizure and then he had a break for 6 years with no seizures. Now in the last 2 years, he's had seizures several times a month, always at night time. And we don't know what's caused it. Professor Cook isn't sure what the reason for it is. It's just something that's happened. And so we've been working to find out what the trigger points are. And we keep a list of those and just try to avoid them or manage those times so that then he doesn't have a seizure.
I used to always diarise a lot of things just on every appointment and what you're doing through the week. I probably went out of that phase as I was having that break from epilepsy, that's fair to say. But by the same token, I was working in offices a lot at that time. So I guess through that period, everything was diarised, anything. All your meetings, your workflow, I guess all your KPI targets, what you needed to accomplish. Those sort of things were definitely diarised. But everyday living wasn't, and it wasn't much of an issue. However, probably in the last 10 years it's changed again, and running my own business now, I definitely still follow that logic of diarising absolutely everything. Majority of the time, things do obviously come out of unexpected things come up, which does sort of lead me to focusing more on those things rather than my everyday diary, and therefore things go forgotten. Yes. So as much as I'd love to stick to a diary ongoing, looking at it is also an issue, I guess you could say. Trying to have an ongoing, not just a diary, but reminders. I guess it's another app that you use linked up to your calendar, and it'll trigger when this should happen, and it'll jump up, pop up, and let you know. The luck of having the phones these days is probably very helpful.
So we have an app on our phone which we can both access. So anything that we need to remember as a family or individually, we can both see it. And that's helped a lot with remembering, okay, we've got to be here at a time or there at a time. It's linked to our shopping list and any other important list that we've got going, and it sends up a message for us to have a look at it. And that helps me, and it helps Ben as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to always feel like I'm reminding him. I don't want to make a big deal that he forgets things a lot. So I try to make it a little bit fun by having little notes that I leave around the house. And it started out being Post-it notes, but that's not so good for the environment. So I have little cards that I make up that have just a small card, little picture that I laminate. So I can always bring those out just to remind him to take his meds, that we've got swimming lessons, or your lunch is in the fridge. Those sort of little things. So I'm not saying the same thing all the time, and he's not feeling bad that he can't remember it. Sure. So I just leave the note out on the bench for him, and that helps.
It does. That's definitely. That's I guess that's sort of one of those things you don't take for granted, but you have that, I guess, comfort, knowing that it's things are moving a lot better than they could have. Yes. My memory has been affected over the years, but it's more the everyday activities that you do. This is where my memory has the main issues. Long-term memory is not so bad. I can remember a lot of things. I remember when I proposed to Allison.
Oh, good.
The drinks we were having, or should I say the dessert, were these very tall glasses. Silly me though, I proposed before we had dessert, so I should have waited till after.
Yeah, I didn't get to finish my dessert.
But as I say, in everyday activities, it's one of those things that I think it's, if something happens today that should be remembered in the next couple of days, I usually feel like what I'm trying to remember was a couple of weeks ago rather than just a couple of days ago. So that sort of helps with diarising a lot as well. So then you can just quickly take a step back. What was I doing yesterday, and what do I need to do to deal with that or respond to that? Or that's pretty much the effect it's having on my life sort of every day.
We have a bit of a joke that for Ben to remember something, it has to go into his long-term memory. But we haven't quite worked out how to get everything into long-term memory. And so I sometimes have to try and not feel hurt that he forgets things that have to do about me, and I'm not sure how to get me into long-term memory.
A lot of factors are still there. They are.
It's just pulling them out again.
Yes. And they're not selective memory, but I do forget on the odd occasion certain duties. I would say post the operation, I'm fair to say, yes, it definitely has influenced it a lot or impacted it a lot. There were other risks at that time. Professor Cook mentioned them, that it may be a lot more than just a slight amount of memory loss. It could have been along the lines of losing perspective, I guess you say, of everyday life, losing an understanding of your own well-being and your every general personal maintenance. But lucky enough, it never came out as bad as that. It's definitely given me just a challenge that I can deal with. So I'm still lucky, despite what I deal with. I manage my own painting company, which is The only similarities it has to the office is things do get scheduled. You always have projects you need to start at certain dates and finish on certain dates. You have different client sort of personalities to deal with. Some are your commercial, which is you're dealing with managers and their finance to work through what their budget is to what I'm able to quote. However, you've also got your residential, which is somebody's personal house that they're wanting to spend on, but they only have a certain budget as well to deal with. So there's a lot of different levels of attention to detail is needed, I guess you could say. But in trying to put that into an everyday memory of what project needs what standard is probably where I have a lot of battles as well. But again, falling back on the diary, falling back on tracking which project is which. I love spreadsheets. I'll live off spreadsheets for both workflow as well as finance. Do my monthly BAS, I do quarterly BAS. Just doing those sort of things. Again, they're spreadsheet. Try not to put too much pressure on my own brain, but leave it on, either the computer or a spreadsheet or a calendar, if that makes sense. Yes.
And I don't get involved in the business side of things. I think it's important for Ben to have that. That's his work, and he does the memory for it as well as he can, but I don't think that I should get involved in that. That needs to be his own thing. And that seems to work.
And I think the other thing that helps with managing it is, I guess, just accepting that is everyday life for me, and being very willing to step up and say, I'm sorry I made that mistake. I'm sorry I forgot. And 99% of the time it's not a major issue. If you're very much on the same page as everybody else and you're meeting at the same level, everybody else understands we're not going to remember everything in life. So I guess try not to put too much attention on that. Sometimes, if there's more of a health and safety matter that you sort of need to deal with, then definitely let them understand that, and this is why we're taking such further precautions.
And some people will ask because they'll see the scar.
Which is, it helps. It helps settle the nerves, I guess you could say. Yeah.
It gets questions out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
What about people that you work with? Do you tell them?
Definitely.
Like your contractors?
Yeah, contractors that work for me, I always tell them. I guess just so they understand what's going to happen if it does happen, what they need to do. First aid is something we always try to get everybody else to have as well as myself. I am guilty. I've been now 2 years without doing it, so I'll definitely revisit that this year anyway. But it's definitely something to keep in mind, to have everybody, I guess, at that same level, so we understand each other. That helps a lot.
Also, one of the subcontractors that Ben works with has my phone number. So if anything goes wrong, then he can call me and let me know. Another thing that we have is an app on our phone that, it sounds a little bit odd, but it's an app that tells us where each other is at all times. So if something did happen at the work site and I get called to come in and get him, I know where he is.
Or if I'm running late from work and I forgot to mention that to Allison. She can look on the app and say, okay, he's there, he's on his way home, he's stuck in traffic. And I guess another way I try to deal with that as well on an everyday basis is I try to understand that if I start stressing over something I can't control, then I'm not going to have much fun at all. I try to focus. Well, stress contributes to it, yes. But definitely stress only on what you can control, which I find ain't a great deal in life. No.
Well, the other good thing with this app is that I'm not ringing him every night saying, where are you? I want to start cooking dinner. I can just look and see he's on his way home and start cooking. So it has the added benefit to help the family.
Just on sleeping habits, I definitely try to not go out too late. It's not too often we'll do it anyway, but it's something you try to always, if I have a lack of sleep, that creates the risk. If I start having a coffee in the evening or any caffeine in the evening, that places a risk. So definitely have done my utmost to stop those behaviours, but on the odd occasion, yes, I do break that. We do go to Queensland every year, which is good for stress management. A holiday, rest relax. No issues with swimming that we've ever had.
Ben has never had a seizure on holiday, which is interesting because he's out of his comfort. We're away from the everyday life.
Yes.
I like going away. We go to the same place every year, and I like that because we've got family nearby, whereas at home we don't have family nearby. So if something goes wrong, then I don't have any backup. But when we're in Queensland, I think as a family we're a lot more relaxed because we know that we've got help, but we've never needed it, so that's good.
But yeah, I guess that sort of reflects that if you're not in any stressful situation, you probably won't have a seizure. And on holidays, of course you don't stress. You relax. Any other exercises we do or things to avoid?
We have a lot of labels at home. That helps with...
Doing shopping. If we've gone out and done shopping and I'm helping Allison put things away, I still do accidentally put them in the wrong spot, or I'm drying the dishes and put it away. I'm putting them in the wrong spot. But we do have, labels in our pantry. Here's all of the spices, and here's all of the baking, flours, sugars, biscuits, chips up the top. Yes, the fridge. Our fridge is very much like that too. Yeah.
But it just helps because it means he doesn't have to ask. There's no stress around it. Yeah. Everything has a place. So it helps with his memory. And because he can see the labels, he knows where it goes. So hopefully that stays in his long-term memory. Just little tips like that is what we do to make everyday life for both of us a bit easier.
Yeah. How are your stress levels?
Really high. Because Ben's seizures are all at night time, I don't get a lot of sleep because although Ben says don't stress about what you can't control, every time he moves, talks in his sleep, scratches his leg, I wake up anticipating a seizure. And of course then the adrenaline goes and it takes a long time to sleep. So I honestly don't get enough sleep every night, but I try to go to bed as early as I can. I do a lot of swimming in the evenings to make myself tired. But my stress levels are really high. But we get through it. We manage the best we can.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of friends around, so if we do need a break, they can look after our daughter.
Yeah. And all friends know. There's very little who wouldn't know.
And that's the thing about Ben. He's very open about his epilepsy. So everyone around us knows. They know how severe it's been at times, and everyone is willing to be there. So our daughter Hannah is currently 8 years old. I taught her when she was 3 years old how to call for an ambulance. We have stickers on our landline phone with my mobile phone number and Ben's mobile phone number. We taught her at the same age our names, our address, and how to go to the neighbour next door and ask for help, and how to get out of the house and not have a locked door behind her so that she could get back into the house. So she learnt that at 3. I practice it with her every month, just so she knows. She understands Ben has epilepsy, but she's never seen a seizure because she's always asleep. We've shown her seizures on TV, and I videoed one of Ben's seizures so she could know about it, because there are times that I've gone away for a couple of nights and she's left at home with Ben. So she needs to know what to do and how to help him. And it's sad that she had to learn that at a young age, but she's very mature for her age and she understands how important it is.
As much as, and to show how good she is, it's sort of something else we've taught her is the EpiPen. Allison's allergic to quite a few things, so that's definitely helped as well.
But I think it was important to show her the type of seizures Ben has, because they look different to what we might see on TV and in the media. He's present in a different way, so it was important that she understands what they look like. And I've even seen her showing her friends. She's taken my phone and showed them the video as well.
And that's probably, It's a very important thing, I think, to if you accept it of yourself and you start letting everybody else know, it does. Yeah, makes it a lot easier. Even showing, seizures. It's not something you look at and you think, oh, geez, I love that idea, but to be able to share it to friends and know that they're looking at it in a definitely caring way, then it will definitely help in the long term. Yeah.
And there are times that Ben goes away without me, and so I have to put my trust in all of our procedures that they work. So I'm not there to see him overnight having a seizure, but he can call me when he goes to bed, he can call me in the morning, and we've got the app that tells me where he is. So he's going away this weekend, and we just have to trust in what we've put in place and know that everything will be okay. And if it's not, we'll deal with it, because that's what you do.
Goes to the memory again. I was doing the itinerary this morning of when I'm going, where I'm going to, which airport it is, which exit it is or platform it is, the name of the car dealer that I'm renting a car from, exactly where it is, the phone number, itinerary, everything. I know I won't remember that.
And because usually I'm there, so I remember it.
Right.
So for Ben to travel by himself, for us, that's a bit of a big deal. In the past, it hasn't always worked out well, and he's missed his flight or not got to the airport in time, but we just have to keep doing it, because life happens, and even when you have epilepsy, you just have to keep going as long as you can and make it work.
Yes, make it work.
Make it work.
Yeah.